Hello. Hi.
Hey,
Welcome to a slightly different video with a guest.
hey, it's me. I'm Voyix.
So this is Voyix. If you watched my channel for a long time, you've seen Voyix
I
mentioned
play
and
Monster
yeah,
Train.
exactly. Lots of Monster Train stuff. Me and Voyix best friends.
Best friends while the camera's on.
Yeah, exactly. But I've been doing a little bit of 20 minutes of Dawn over the last couple of weeks. Voyix is pretty familiar with the game. Not as familiar as me maybe, but like
No,
pretty familiar, I'd say. You've
would not
gotten
call myself an expert.
But I think you've won the game with pretty much every character and gun on Darkness 15, right? Or close
Mm,
to
I've
it?
won. I've won with like three characters and guns on Darkness 15, and then that would be like four, but I played an endless run instead for my
Mm,
entire night.
yeah, yeah.
But like I rotated through all the guns while I was doing the climb as
Yeah,
well, so I'm familiar with everyone.
yeah, exactly. So not a little baby boy is what I would say.
Correct. I agree.
Um so let's hop into the list here. So just to clarify what this list here is, we didn't want to do each individual perk because A would take too long, and B we would be repeating a lot of stuff because the perks are pretty intrinsically tied to each other based on, their perk tree, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to a lot of perks in here often get carried by the fact that they're connected to a different perk. So we felt it was just better to talk about them, all at the same time, basically for each one.
Yeah, no more 6 hour tier list videos.
Oh, not yet. We'll wait. Hey, who knows how much content will get added to this game? By the end, maybe we'll be talking about 800 perks on this list.
Yeah, tier listing everything.
But
The
anyway,
entire game. Yeah, alright.
you ready to hop in?
I'm ready.
So our first perk on the list here, just by
Mhm.
pure coincidence, I guess, is the Pyromage perk.
Yeah.
Voyix, how do you feel about Pyromage in general?
In general, okay, so we're rating these based on how good they are on average, right?
That is true. Yeah. So I think we have
So,
more or less the same thing on here. The top tier here,
mhm,
or the S tier, always strong, useful on
yep.
basically every single run, no matter which character you're playing. Always useful, right? The
Mhm.
sometimes strong, which is like perks that are good maybe for specific characters or maybe for specific guns or combinations. Therefore, right? Like just pretty good on certain characters, but not like an auto pick all the time,
Yep.
right? Then
Yeah.
neutral, this is self-explanatory. We don't need to go through them all. You get the
Yeah.
premise here.
Get the gist. All right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put this in usually good.
Yeah.
I I was real close to giving this always good because of soothing warmth, because healing is cool, especially if you're playing diamond. Having
Hmm.
consistent healing is great. But I don't know. Someone who is me is inevitably gonna say just don't get hit. And so I can't I'm not gonna give it always good because like what if you just don't get hit? And it's not that good. I think as time goes on this perk actually gets a little worse.
I agree with you more or less entirely. Um, there's a couple of builds where it's not very good on it. Like if you're playing
Yeah.
a summoner, like a Hina summoner build, it's not that useful. If you're playing a backgun build, it's okay in the early game. It's good if you're like a backgun slash elemental build, but those builds they're okay. But really, you only need frost on those builds. You don't need pyromage. You don't need electromage nearly as badly. But like,
Hmm.
not essential for those builds. Okay in them. But yeah, there's some characters, especially like you said, Diamond for a soothing warmth, very important. Uh, some people will say that Firestarter is pretty important for the early game, which is important to note. The
Yeah.
what do you call the dog? I go back and forth calling it the dog and the reindeer.
I call it a dog, and then people try to tell me that's not a dog. Have you ever seen a dog in your life? And then they go call a turtle a dog.
Yeah, so
I'm,
there's
I'm at
there's,
war.
there's just no way to know. But I go back
No,
and
it's
forth.
impossible.
I call it a dog and a reindeer in the same fight most of the time.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but Firestarter, it's important to note Firestarter very good for that fight in particular because it's decent burst damage.
Hmm.
I don't know. Intense burn is one of those perks where it's really hard to tell how impactful it actually is for your run because
I think it's awful.
it's a 35% increase to your burn damage. If you're playing Scarlet, Scarlet does a lot of burn damage because she has a passive that increases her burn damage by a lot but lowers her bullet damage. So you're kind of forced into playing a build like that. So it's kind of a good damage boost for her, but like usually kind of worthless. So
I'm checking something. Isn't burn like 3 damage?
you can apply multiple ticks of it.
Ah, okay. And it stacks like if you have 2 ticks of it, then it's doing 6.
Hmm. So it does
Okay,
add up too.
I was gonna say, isn't this just one?
No,
No, it's not.
it's not quite. And then again with Scarlet, she has boost to it as well. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So it's
And
not
I guess go ahead.
it's also important to note too. Intense burn is half of the synergy requirements for. I always mix up the name, but Frost Flame, the ice
Mm,
fire synergy, and that perk is
yeah,
pretty strong too. So it's
yeah,
important to
yeah.
note there as well. And on the same end, Firestarter is required for the overload synergy, which is like essential for certain builds as well. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that also the fire tree is pretty good because in elemental builds you basically have to pick it to play the synergies.
yep, exactly.
Is there a frost lightning synergy?
No, no.
Okay.
I actually, we can deviate. We can get a little sidetracked here. I was asking
Mhm.
people in a video maybe a week or two ago, about potential ideas for one, and one of the coolest ones someone mentioned was that frozen enemies can act as like a lightning rod, and if they get hit by lightning while frozen, the lightning then like spreads and hits other people basically,
Ooh, that's
and
a
like a
cool
much bigger.
idea.
It's kind of similar to the explosion effect of like overload already, but you can do some maybe cooler stuff with it too. I don't know, but it was just like a
Eh,
cool concept, because it is
I
kind of
like
weird that
that idea.
there is no synergy for it. So I don't know,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah, all right. Shall we?
let's move on.
Go ahead.
Magnetism. I'll take this one here. Magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I would put it in the neutral tier personally because it's never really bad.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the perks in it are actually pretty cool. If you're trying to do like some sort of infinite shooting build, usually ethereal plus energized bullets can get you there. But some builds have like a little bit of an in between period where it's not quite working, and the ability to have a chance to regain ammo when you pick up experience can help sustain that fire basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's that, but more importantly, just pickup range is good in general. People don't play this game perfectly, so the way I like to think of pickup range is basically just like a safety net of like, oh, I would have missed that experience, but now because I have more pickup range, I didn't miss it. I'm hitting more levels, so you know.
Yeah. So putting this one in a tier is kind of hard. I feel this perk is like the to make a comparison to that one game, Monster Train. This perk is like Sting, where the only reason you wouldn't take this is because of the opportunity cost of missing something else.
That is a perfect comparison. Sorry if you don't play Monster Train and if you don't understand that, but
Yeah.
it's a great comparison where it's like this is never bad. If your other perks are bad for your build, you'll take this instead. But
Yeah.
there's oftentimes will just be better things for you to take that are more important for the build.
And so
So
does that mean that it's always good or does that mean that it's just okay? I think that I'm happy to put it in just okay
yeah,
cuz like I feel like there's an implication in saying that like hey, it's always good. That means you just pick this every time and that's not exactly what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I agree.
I also don't know if I would ever willingly take Watch and Learn, the vision range one, outside of doing something dumb and endless.
Well, it's the same logic as taking magnetism in the first place. If you have just like
Yeah.
nothing else useful, oh, I'll take this and I'll have a little bit more pickup range.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but yeah, I'm
I
more or less in the
agree.
same boat as you. Would you like to take the next one?
Yeah, sure, it's haste.
Mm-hmm.
I like going fast. But I don't know how good it is. Primarily, I don't want to just slot this in like really, really good, or sorry, the usually good tier, because you get put in jail against two of the bosses, and then running fast is less good. But I think I'm gonna give this a usually good. I like moving fast, and it gives a little fire rate.
I agree with you here. I'm happy that we're so far in unison.
Mm-hmm.
I think specifically the move speed. You mentioned the cages, which
Yeah.
are important, but I think the move speed is really important in the dogfight.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's extremely important. There's a lot of characters who don't have great burst damage in the early game, and if they see the dog and they don't have move speed, they just get run down basically. So
Yeah.
being able to move faster, this and haste and the oh, what's the hold on, I'll look it up here. Give me a sec. The 100% walk speed one. Do you know the difference between
Oh
walk speed
yeah.
and move speed?
Yeah, it's when you're shooting, you're walking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I found that one out fairly recently, but Run and gun, the 100%
Yep.
walk speed perk. That one's really useful too, especially for that fight. Obviously,
Yeah.
20% move speed is okay, but run and gun, very strong perk. So blazing
I
speed,
also
pretty bad. In the wind, iffy for sure. But
yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. I like in the
Mhm.
wind because it's 40% more damage, but sometimes that's not very good.
Yeah, it's it's not sunk cost fallacy. I don't know what it is, but it's like the concept of like it's not gonna be you're not gonna get the full advantage all the time. So you
Yeah.
think of it a lot worse than you think of it at its worst instead of being at its best.
Hmm.
When you really just think of it like if I have half uptime on this, I'll get a 20% boost or 25 or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So like it's not like that bad, but I don't know. It's a weird one in the wind.
I
But
agree.
haste and run and gun are so strong that I think it's in the sometimes strong tier for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like again, it's sort of like this is a good take, but is
Hmm.
there something better? Because like at first it's just can I do enough damage to kill the enemies before they start to swarm me? If not, can I get out of the way?
Hmm.
I think are the two ways you answer your problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like most of the time you don't want to be in the get out of the way tree because when you do that, you're foregoing experience to run away, right? If
Yep.
you're not killing enemies, you're not getting more experience. If you're not leveling up, enemies will eventually, overrun you.
Yeah. Agree.
So I like it specifically for the dog fight. I don't like it for like trying to run away necessarily because when you're doing that, it usually means that you might be losing the run. But like, hey, if you're trying, like, especially, I don't know if you actually know this, Voyix. Did you know that they updated endless mode last night?
I did hear about it.
It's fucked. It's
Is
so
it?
crazy. No, it's good in a good way. It's
Okay.
so hard now that like the move speed is actually really important in the early game too. Actually, like for running away because like sometimes you just can't fight. Like when you're like in like survival strats, it does help you get like another like maybe minute or two longer than you would have had.
Okay. And that matters a lot more.
Yeah, like my best run so far is 15 minutes in endless mode. It's
Whoa.
crazy, man. It's so cool. I'm really excited to like. I imagine they're probably gonna nerf it a bit and make it like easier because maybe it's a little too hard. But like I want it to be that hard because it's like much more challenging now.
Yeah.
Okay, up next I got this one Voyix double shot.
Hmm. Double
I
shot.
don't want to say it's always strong, but it's pretty much there for me.
Hey, I'm gonna say that it's always
Yeah,
strong.
I mean like if
I'm
you're like
clicking it.
in the literal sense, it's not always strong because you could play like a pacifist build and not shoot your gun at all. Like, but
Yeah.
if you're shooting a gun, double shot is good because I don't know if you know this. Two shots usually better than one shot.
Yeah, and the damage loss is negligible.
Mm. Um,
I think you actually gain damage overall, I feel like.
yeah, almost always. The exception being if you have this combined with something like the Tome of Rage, because that'll give
Yeah.
you so much spread that it's hard to focus your shots on a single target, even with some of the spread reduction perks.
Mhm.
It can cause problems there, but the solution to that is just then taking Fusillade afterwards and just spraying just an entire
Yeah.
wave of bullets at the enemies, and then it
Just
usually works out pretty well.
yeah, you just cover the screen and then
Yeah,
everything dies and you go, haha,
I, I
very
think
cool.
I think double shot is another good example of like the first perk and the last perk being very good, and the two center perks being kind of dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, Fanfire is okay because isn't it it's a requirement for something, right?
Fanfire is a requirement for mini clip, which I also
Yeah.
kind of secretly think is dog shit most of the time. Not
Hey, I
all the
love
time,
mini clip.
not all the time, but I think it's secretly not good, and more often than not, it lowers your DPS. But we're not talking about synergies today, so we don't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether or not you like miniclip, this tree is still good. And
Yeah.
also, it's important to note that fanfire is useful for elemental builds and things like that because it does spread out statuses more.
Hmm.
All of those shots, even though they only do like 10% damage, still apply on hit effects. So that's the thing.
Yeah. One time I tripled Fusillade as Shayna and
Mhm.
lost the run immediately though.
Yeah, you got to be careful because you get minus 75% damage when you do that.
Yeah, that wasn't very good, but it felt cool until I died.
My one of my favorite triple ups has been so far.
What's that?
Stand your ground, which
Mmm.
is the Fusillade uh what is it? Fusillade Siege synergy perk.
Yeah.
You get 2 extra projectiles plus 25% fire rate, but then you also get minus 25, not walk speed, move speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you just become a rock. You
Yeah.
don't move anymore, but it was a lot of fun.
It sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you just shoot so much bolts, you don't have to move anymore, basically. And unlike Fusillade, those extra projectiles you get from that, A, don't give you increased spread. They're just normal projectiles. And then B, don't have damage reduction on them. They're just normal, +2 projectiles for each perk of it.
Yeah, right. And you're just going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It does sound the triple effect is very fun.
Yeah, it is very cool. But, kind of annoying because if you're trying to get a specific one, you don't, get it all the time.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think
Uh,
that a skip feature.
we didn't talk about Splitfire at all, which we should mention. There are some builds where Splitfire is okay, I should mention. If you're playing, like, I've had, like, luck surprisingly with, like, elemental builds with it again for, like, hit rates and stuff or on hit effects. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Flame Cannon, Dual SMG, stuff like that are okay with it. One thing to note, though, you need to be very careful if you're using Fanfire and Splitfire with the grenade launcher.
Yeah, that does kill you.
If enemies get point blank to you and you need to reload your gun, good luck. Or if they get
It's
behind
very
you
good.
as well, good luck. I don't know how I feel about it because I feel like sometimes what I would say is if you can get a really high damage number before you take Fanfire, I think it's actually pretty good because then it's pretty easy to keep enemies off you. Because
Yeah.
double shot into Fanfire into Fusillade is okay. Splitfire I hate with it though because Splitfire is very easy to be running away from enemies and into another enemy, and then because you're shooting behind you, you then point blank hit the enemy and blow yourself up.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just avoid them with grenade launcher. I feel
Double shot though also essential for the grenade launcher though still very good.
very good.
Yeah. Would you like to take the next one?
Yeah, I'll take quick hands. All right, hello, it's me. I'm here to have my first hot take. I hate quick hands. Puke emoji.
Puke emoji, putting it all the way at the very bottom.
All the way at the bottom. I don't want to reload my gun ever.
That's kind of psychotic, but okay.
Yeah, I know, but like someone's got to have a hot take in here. It's me. I got something has to go in the bottom tier, or else it's not a great tier list. And I'm putting quick hands down. You know what? No, because all right, quick hands can go one below the bottom. I don't.
Okay.
Every build that I want to play in this game does not involve reloading my gun.
That's fair.
Armed and ready is pretty good though. Max ammo +2 is kind of nice.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think this is a solid neutral for me because there's a couple of builds that do really like these things, especially like armed and ready can be pretty good. Kill clip can be pretty good sometimes as well. Quick hands itself is pretty low impact. Like I don't know, I never go, oh boy, reload rate +20. This is what I needed to win this game. That's not gonna happen. But I've had armed and ready be pretty impactful, especially if you're like a shotgun build. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I feel like less impactful for like a crossbow, but whatever. But there's some builds that do really like these perks. Fresh clip as well, same idea. Fresh clip for a shotgun build or for just any low ammo capacity build is pretty sweet. Again, I'm still not a big mini clip supporter, but like it's good if you want to get mini clip in your run.
Yeah, I mean it's okay.
And I've had kill clip be pretty good for me sometimes too.
Yeah, and they have their uses, sure, but I didn't buy this game to watch reload animations. No, I did buy this game to watch reload animations. I mean, no, because I'm never gonna reload because I'm gonna generate infinite ammo from my cool lightning strikes. But
yeah.
Also, I will just never reload. Once the gun's out of ammo, I get a new gun.
Okay. I believe I'm up next here. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here I go. Glare, F tier, boom, bottom.
Yeah.
Glare.
Me too.
I will say in the endless mode. I mean, you saw what Glare can do in the endless mode. I don't know if you know this. We didn't say it before. They did cap the number of times you can take a perk to 3.
Yep.
So Glare. I've been told still maybe the strongest build in endless mode, but obviously not AFK farmness. Or not as badly. I think actually people are saying Glare combined with high stacks of Frostbite can still more or less AFK farm. I haven't tested it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if you could still. But we're talking about just normal 20 minuting here when it comes to ranking these, not taking into account triples. And you might be saying, "Oh, but what about Sean? What if you triple up Saccade and you just do
Sounds
a build like that?" Like, no, like that's not a real build. If you're gonna, like, there's so many other things you could triple up and then still win the game with, right?
yeah. I mean,
It's
what if you just triple up like anything else?
like, here's what I would say. If you're like, oh, but it's so good in that build. That build is also in the F tier of build rankings, right? Like it's good when you get it, but it's so unreliable to set up that it's not like a good thing. But anyway,
Yeah, no, I agree. I had the glare dream. I think at the end I was doing 12 million damage to enemies per tick
hmm
with glare, but that is dead now,
yep.
of course, and like with good reason. I don't think I don't know, man. It's just it has to tick faster than once every second when you max out. You're investing 4 perks in this. It's fun, but I don't think it's good.
I don't think
And
it's fun.
I guess that's fair. It's like if garlic from Vampire Survivors was worse.
Basically, I mean, garlic's pretty good from Vampire Survivors, but anyway.
It's like, it's garlic's a little 50-50,
You know,
but
you know,
that's
you
a
know, you
different
know, you know
tale.
what I'll say. Garlic is good in Vampire Survivors because it's really good in the early game for farming experience.
Yes,
This does
true.
not do that.
Yes.
This is not reliable enough to farm experience in the early game. So bad.
Yeah, I agree.
You either need a faster tick rate or bigger vision to start with for this to be useful in normal play for that specific reason.
Yeah, because a lot of times the problem is enemies are just like you move in on an enemy and then you have to move out because they're coming to get your ass, and
hmm
then they're at a vision range and you just can't kill anything.
Okay, you ready
You
for
want me
this
to take
next
this?
one?
Yeah, yeah, you want me to take the sword?
You got it. You got it.
All right, this is my boy. I love the sword. I'm putting him in always good.
Oh my god, really?
I love he spins around, he hits the enemies. He's good in every build. I don't
I
have no negatives about my good friend the
okay.
sword. I will hear nothing.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say some things real quick. I'm gonna put it in
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
in the rarely good second from the bottom tier.
Okay.
There's really
Wow.
there's really only one build that genuinely likes light weaponry, and that
Hmm.
is probably, or maybe two, I guess. Hina and Lilith grenade launcher runs are
Yeah,
pretty
but
much the only runs that want this.
you get the cool 40% summon damage increase. You farm up your dragon. It goes whoosh sword.
So I learned recently actually that you need the summons to exist first before you take sharpen. Otherwise, they don't get the damage bonus from sharpen.
Oh, what the fuck? That's terrible. All right, this
Yeah,
guy's out of top tier. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
taking him down. I'm dropping him down a tier.
I don't know if the dragon has to be. I've heard some, I think, conflicting things about it. I think the dragon does have to hatch first before you take it as well, before to get the damage boost from sharpen.
All right,
Um, there's some weirdness there for sure. But like,
that's
some
tough.
summoner builds do like this. However, I think this is the worst summon in summoner builds.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, but like my feeling is that I like this guy because I don't want to take the other summons if I'm playing a non-summoner build. I can just take this guy outside of summoner builds and he whooshes around and hits the enemies sometimes. But I don't know if that's actually that good. I just think he's fun.
yeah, sure, it's fun and it's cool to see things flying around. But if you're
Yeah.
playing like a shotgun or an SMG or a flame cannon or a back
Oh
gun
yeah.
or a back gun, by the way, back gun which is a summoner weapon, right? It's designed to be a
Hmm.
summoner weapon. Light weaponry is not very good because it's based off of your bullet damage, right?
Yeah.
Which
I
you can
think
which you can
this.
crank up because summon damage does boost your bullet damage as well, and I assume that would hopefully transfer to the light weapons damage. But I can't even say that for certain. Actually, I don't know. It might just be like your bullet damage stat is what sets your light weaponry damage. So
I
it's
think.
it's sketchy for sure.
I think the secret is that light weaponry is not actually a summoning perk. That's just a gun perk.
Yeah, there's decent logic for that there. And I think specifically grenade launcher runs this is okay with.
Yeah.
But even then, like, if I'm playing most grenade, like if I'm playing Abby or Diamond grenade launcher runs, I'm not like, oh shit, I need a little knife to fly around here. Like, it's not like a super high priority for me. I'm like trying to get double shot. I'm trying to get whatever I need, right? I'm trying to get like damage boosts or whatever. Like, I'm not worried about a little knife. So,
Yeah, but like sometimes they show you a bad pack and you go, "Hey, there's my good buddy, the knife."
okay, that's fair.
But no, I think it is probably on average not very good, but like I click it more often than I
That
probably
that
should.
that is that is perfectly fair. Um, would you like to take
You
holy?
got holy sh-
I
thing,
got.
didn't?
I thought I did knife. Did I not do knife?
I think you did
Oh
glare
no,
and
you
put it
did.
in bad.
You did knife, and you said you loved it at first.
Yeah, and
And
then I
then,
found out sharpen's bad.
well, no, sharpen's good. It's just you need to take it at the right time.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't like that shit.
Okay.
But
So
holy shield is yours.
Holy Shield is pretty much in the always strong category for me.
Yeah.
There's like, you could argue that it's kind of bad on Diamond because it's a minor inconvenience to you if you're trying to damage yourself to get your buffs. But
Yeah.
outside of that, it's pretty good. Another great example of the middle two perks being pretty dog. They're not very good. Although Divine Blessing's okay. I think I've been told, people have been
Yeah.
telling me Divine Blessing's like pretty good, and it's again, it's that sort of like that. Oh, if I have it up, if the uptime's 100% on my shield, Divine Blessing's great. But like that ain't happening.
Yeah.
I'm not running around not taking hits ever. So it's not that good. Divine Wrath is trash.
Terrible.
Yeah, if you're playing like a Spark build or like a Spark Lightning build or whatever,
Hate it.
even then it's not very. I'd rather have Divine Blessing, I think, over it still. Between the two of
My
those.
favorite thing to do is play lightning builds, and even in lightning builds, I look at Divine Wrath and I go, "Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah.
I
But
don't want this."
Holy Shield is great.
Yep.
Stalwart Shield is amazing.
Game breaking.
Yeah. Game breaking. Again, we were talking about Shauna before. That's the
Hmm.
difference, right? That's the difference between like Glare and Shield. Glare is useless unless you hit Shauna's triple up on the Cicade or whatever, and then it becomes very strong. Stalwart Shield is already very strong. You don't need to hit the triple on it. You're already there.
Yeah.
So
I feel like people pointing to, "Hey, Cicada is good. You could just triple it." This is a straw man I'm arguing with,
yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
of course, of
But
course.
this is the same person who's like, "Yeah, Shadow Siege is good. You just have to get sketches and multi-strike and not die before Daedalus."
Hmm.
Like, yeah, or you could do something else.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
Stalwart Shield very strong. Holy
Yeah.
Shield very strong. Also, we didn't even talk about the fact that there is a rune perk revolving around
Hmm.
Holy Shield that reduces the cooldown by 25 seconds. So when taking
Yeah.
into account the Stalwart Shield lowering it down to 1, and then that by the way, every character except for Diamond should use this perk in the rune
Yep.
tree.
Almost certainly.
Other two perks are pretty terrible in comparison to the Holy Shield perk. Um,
Yeah.
I think the perk is called Blessing, but I forget.
The
Um,
only time I've ever taken it off, like you said, is if I'm gonna play Diamond.
mhm. Because
It's very good.
the regeneration perk is also really good on Diamond. So
Hmm.
yeah, outside of that, Holy Shield's great, very good. If I could see if you're like trying to like if you're an MLG gamer out there trying to rack up a super high kill number if you're trying to get like leaderboard status or whatever, then don't take this because it doesn't help you kill obviously, but like even then like
Yeah.
Divine Blessing does help you a little bit with killing.
I also like do either of the perks in the same tier as that help you kill on the rune side.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, so you could still start with it, but I guess then this is
But
like a
you could,
whole.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Here's the whole thing of like, oh, if I take this rune, then I'm adding two bad perks to my starting my
yeah,
perk pool, right? So
yeah,
again,
yeah.
there's some logic for not taking it then, but again, that's like super,
That's the
metagaming it.
top.
Yeah. So we're not too concerned about we're not this is not a tier list for optimizing kills. This is a tier list for not dying.
Yeah, winning the game.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take aim.
Yeah.
So I think I want to give take aim top tier. I
Okay.
think it's always good. I think assassin is really strong.
I mean, like, yeah, lowering everyone's health by 20% is pretty important. One thing to
Piercing
note,
one.
uh, wait, Assassin doesn't
There's
have.
also pierce. No, no, it's on penetration.
Yeah,
So on the way to assassin.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to lose my mind. I'm like, what? This has had a
No,
piercing
no,
the
no.
whole time? No, it's got
That
a
would
little
be
bit of bullet.
sick. No, no.
It's got a little bit of bullet speed on it.
Mm.
I'm a little conflicted on this because I do like it a lot, but I think I'm gonna only put it in the sometimes strong tier
Okay,
because Batgun doesn't really care about this that much.
that's fair.
Like Batgun can get by with just bouncing shots more or less. They don't need piercing too badly. They don't need the bullet speed increases that much. They're not like a short range weapon like shotgun or flame cannon that really likes the increased bullet speed. The backgun doesn't need its spread tightened either for any reason.
Right.
So, and also grenade launcher too doesn't need this really either.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
And piercing is actually kind of bad on grenade launcher, I think, even.
bad early game. It actually becomes very useful late game
Yeah.
most of the time. So a little bit of piercing is good, but you can get that little bit of piercing you need from the power shot tree, which we'll talk about in a second.
Take aim is an interesting one to look at because I actually think that take aim itself is like awful. I would never pick this on its own, but the other 3 perks in its tree are very good.
Not I like to actually take aim on its own quite a bit too. The again for short range weapons like the shotgun and flame cannon, the
Yeah, I guess that's
tightening
true.
of spread combined with the increased bullet, like mostly the bullet speed is the most important part for those short range
Yeah,
weapons. You'd be surprised how often it actually ends up being pretty significant.
I see what you're saying.
Because like if you can shoot enemies from farther away, you start doing damage to them sooner, right? So
Yeah,
you can keep them farther back, but whatever.
yeah. It doesn't say damage up, but in some cases it is a damage up.
Yeah, basically, it's like one of those secret. It's like how in Vampire Survivors AOE increases is kind of like a secret damage increase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Um.
I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um.
I stand by my placing of it.
It's a good placing of it. Am I up?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you got power shot.
Power shot. I'm torn on this one because there's some builds that like 100% need this, and that is gun builds. But there's a lot of elemental builds that don't care about it that much. So I think I'm putting this also in the sometimes strong tier.
Yeah.
Um.
I think that this is almost one of those only good in one builds. However, in elemental builds, I really like Splinter because it
Mhm.
starts fun chain reactions.
Yeah. It's
But
pretty. I will say with the nerfs to both Frostbite and Shatter, Splinter unfortunately got a little bit nerfed too because the
yeah,
ability just to kind of like spread chaos through the ranks, so to speak, or whatever, did get reduced. But like Splinter, Frostbite, Shatter at one point was like just absurd. Still pretty good,
yeah.
but not. I wouldn't say essential for elemental builds.
Well,
But pretty
I
good.
didn't play the game like that because I misread Shatter the first time I saw it. So that nerf didn't affect me.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought
Um,
Shatter was dog shit like for the entire time it was broken because I thought it did. I thought it said it explodes for a percent of their max HP. I thought it just said it exploded for 15, and I was like, wow, that seems terrible.
that would be terrible.
Yeah,
That would be pretty
and
bad.
and then I never took it. I didn't see the percent,
Hmm.
but I like using this with. I mean specifically, and I guess this is maybe a little bias of me, but I like using it with Spark and the enemies that get struck by lightning cause the explosion synergy.
Hmm.
You just shoot once into a cluster and the entire cluster explodes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Like, again, just all elemental builds like Splinter, but it's usually not essential. And
yeah,
you have to take Power Shot, which more or less does nothing for those builds as well. And then
yep,
those builds do usually like Reaper rounds though, which is important to note too. I was saying it before. You don't need to take the take aim tree because Reaper rounds does give you +1 piercing,
yeah,
which is a really good. Reaper rounds is a very strong perk. Um,
yeah. I agree.
but again, when we get into it, like the grenade launcher does like Power Shot, does like Big Shot, but you have to be careful about the bullet size increase on Big Shot with grenade launcher. But
Yeah,
but doesn't like Reaper rounds until the late game. And nowadays Splinter is okay, but when the game first came out, Splinter on grenade launchers was literally a death sentence,
yeah,
which was fun the first time you took it because it killed you instantly.
yeah. And
But
then
now,
you go, haha.
but now the grenades detonate sooner off of Splinters. So they usually don't chain reaction to kill you. Um,
Usually,
yeah, it's still not great. I still wouldn't take it most of the time on grenade launchers because the damage isn't that impactful from the splinter shots. Even if your grenades are doing like 100 damage, it's still like 10 damage then, right?
Mhm.
But pretty okay, I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I don't know. Maybe this is actually always strong because
I
even
think it's
I'm trying to think about no builds really dislike it because again like those elemental builds like the piercing. I'm actually changing my mind. I'm putting this in the always strong. I think.
I think about the knife synergy.
The knife synergy, very important, very important. Almost every build likes a little bit of this. Although, yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna keep it and always strong now.
That's fair. I'm not gonna change because I have to deviate my tier list in some way.
Hmm. That's fair.
Yeah, I think it is almost always good, but not quite because there are times where I haven't taken this. Oh boy, I get dragon egg.
This is a tough one. I don't blame you if you get
This,
this one.
yeah.
If you
I mean,
go into widely different from me on this one.
yeah. So this is a pretty polarizing take, right?
Hmm.
Dragon egg is like you get this at the start of the game, and you're playing a summoning based build, or else you don't get this. So I think I actually think that I'm gonna drop this directly in neutral because this is either always good or actually just completely worthless and a waste of your time. And there is very, very little in between. So I'm gonna let that even out to neutral.
For me, it's either neutral or rarely good. Like I don't
Hmm.
know. It's close for me because again, the whole point is you need to see it early, right? If you
Yep.
don't see if you see this at even at like the 15-minute mark is pretty much dog shit,
Yeah, no,
right?
I
You
would
need to
even
see it soon, and you also probably want to see it and then just have nothing good, so you're forced to take it early, basically. But one thing that's really important to note is that Dragon Bond or whatever it's called. Hold on, let me make sure I
hmm
got the name. Dragon Bond
Yep, you got
is
it.
is good on
Yeah.
most builds. Even if you're an elemental build, if you're a gun build, pretty much every build, Dragon Bond is good if you got in Dragon Egg early. If you didn't, it's pretty bad. It's terrible.
Yeah.
The only way it's playable outside of that is just in a pure summoning build. But I
Yeah.
will say, for the summoning build, it's probably the best summon.
Almost certainly.
Although you could make the argument that like the ghost gives you just general more buffs to all your summons.
Hmm.
But this is like the and also as long as you're not doing magic lens cheese with your summons. If you're just
Yeah.
playing the summons and having them shoot, the dragon is the mitochondria of the summoner build.
Yes.
Um,
I I think that Dragon has problems too because you have to see Dragon and you have to see the two upgrades for Dragon very early, I feel. And that's also like you take this and then it is just taking nothing for 3 minutes.
yeah, I'm
You
actually
get no perk.
what I will say is if you're playing a non-summon focused build, if you're playing like shotgun or just even an elemental build, you don't need train dragon. You really just need age dragon early because again, you only care about increasing the dragon's damage for the dragon bond triggers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, if you can get age dragon at like the 19-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
You're 1 minute into the run, you have dragon egg and age dragon. That's pretty much a one run, no matter what build you're playing.
Yep.
But that's a gamble, which is not always good. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in the rarely good tier. I think that's where I want it.
Hmm.
But we both acknowledge that if you do get those early, I've done pacifist runs where the dragon has carried me, basically, right? Like it's a thing that
Yeah.
can happen, but we're being realistic here. You need a lot to work out for you for that to happen.
Yeah. I had a good one where the dragon, like when you get the problem I have with Dragon really is that when you get to the end game where he's doing very well, the run just ends.
Yeah, that's just like a pacing issue of the game. Which, if you, again,
Yeah.
I'm very excited for you to check out the new endless mode. It's really cool because
Yeah.
the pacing's fucking crazy.
I'll have to give it a shot.
I will watch whatever you like. Do you think you're gonna stream it next, or do you think you're gonna do any videos of it anytime soon?
I don't know actually. Probably a stream.
Probably a stream. I gotta be there for that first endless run because
Yeah.
geez, it's gonna be so good.
Okay.
Um, whose turn is it?
It is your turn for
My
rapid
turn.
fire.
Rapid fire.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think for a second. Hmm. I think I'm gonna put rapid fire. Maybe a little controversial here. I think I'm putting it in the sometimes strong tier, like the second from the top.
Yeah.
This is sometimes a very good perk for most builds. For most builds, this just reads as like increased DPS, basically, right?
Yep.
Um, rapid fire, is fine. Light bullets is fine. Notable synergy with Reaper rounds for, in my opinion, a very strong ability. Death rounds, very good. Good in almost every build, basically, with the exception of like maybe grenade launcher, I
Yeah.
suppose. And crossbow, I guess, too. Crossbow's not that useful. Uh, but yeah, really, really good in a lot of builds, basically. Um, rubber bullets, really only good in batgun builds, but fine
Mm-hmm.
there. It's okay. And then
Yeah.
siege, dog shit, except synergy with Fusillade for stand your ground, which is very good. Not maybe not very good, but pretty good. So overall, the tier is pretty good. I don't hate seeing this. This I think actually, you know what? I think the fire rate tree is the closest analogy we'll get to the sting from Monster
Oh
Train.
yeah.
I think this is actually what magnetism wants to be, where it's like, this is never bad. If I had nothing good, I guess I'll take an increase to my fire rate.
Yeah. No, I mean I put it in neutral. I think that it is usually well, I like shooting guns fast.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that rapid fire and I basically feel like rapid fire is the only perk in this tier that I care about too much.
Mm-hmm.
I like bullets maybe, but also outside of builds like outside of guns where you're shooting fast like shotgun, crossbow, grenade launcher, I think this is pretty awful. So like half the time this isn't even any good to me.
I disagree with you on shotgun because of death rounds. Death rounds on
That's fair.
shotgun is very strong. Basic, almost enough DPS on its own to win the game.
Yeah, but we're talking about just the fire rate.
Well, you need light bullets to get death rounds.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever taken death rounds.
It's a good perk. I would recommend it quite a bit, especially if you're because you have to keep in mind like the death or the Reaper rounds give you piercing as well.
Oh yeah,
So on builds where piercing is good, so most elemental builds, and then also just gun builds in general, shotguns, revolvers, etc., stuff like that. Rapid fire is pretty good, and light bolts is pretty good. Um,
yeah. Also have to take rapid fire so I can get my favorite perk in the game, gun mastery.
yep. Also, I always forget about gun mastery. Gun mastery just shows up randomly. I'm like, oh, sick. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, cool. I
Yeah,
got this.
yeah. That one and
What do I
summon
need for this
mastery.
again?
Are you looking it up? I'm
Yeah,
curious actually what you need. It's
it's
probably
go on.
is it just rapid fire, power shot, and quick hands or whatever?
Close. It's rapid fire, power shot, and the one that gives +2 ammo, armed and ready.
Ah, okay. I almost got it.
Yeah, you were close.
Yeah, but yeah,
You're
like
on the right track.
yeah, just stuff you take in gun builds anyway, basically.
Yeah. I feel like it's rapid fire is just not that good outside of gun builds. So I'm gonna give it the neutral. Although like elemental builds shooting fast is usually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'm sticking to my guns. It's going in neutral.
Okay. Okay. I think you're up, right, for this next one.
Yeah, vitality.
Mhm.
I mean, just don't get hit.
It's
But
kind of funny, right? Because Holy Shield's amazing.
yeah,
Vitality kind of sucks in comparison.
yeah, I'm gonna give it not great. Maybe it's close to bottom tier. I feel like, but like the problem I have with vitality is that every perk in the tree that isn't vitality, I think, is actually just terrible.
Yeah, Vitality in and of itself is okay.
Yeah,
It's not gonna kill you to give you more HP, right? But
yeah, it's good.
Giant might kill you.
Yeah, giant just kills you.
And Anger Point, again, it's like, I don't want to be hit. So, eh. I will say, this is good for Diamond. Not amazing. I'd rather have Soothing Warmth if I'm trying to heal myself. But
Yeah,
Regeneration is not nothing. Anger Points is okay. And for Diamond, because oftentimes you're just like, oh, well, let me take some damage on purpose here so I can trigger my next heal or whatever, right?
yeah,
So it's okay there, but it's not amazing. I'm not like oh yeah, I got Vitality on my Diamond build, first perk baby. It's like no,
it's
that's
huge.
yeah, it's never huge. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that on the characters that start with 3 HP, taking Vitality is almost needed if you're going to take two -1 HP tomes, which often I find myself wanting to do,
Hmm.
or else you're just at 1 HP. But being at 2 HP on Darkness 15, also not that great.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you have two tomes, at that point you're at the mark where enemies will mostly one shot you because they're gonna be doing 2 damage to you, with
Yeah,
the
then,
exception
then
of
you
the
just
range attacks. But yeah,
I think in theory then you're taking giant in like the last 10 minutes because you have your build set up and enemies are never going to catch you
yeah.
and the movement speed doesn't matter anymore. But early game giant I think actually just ends your run.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but it's not good.
It's very bad, I
It
think.
it ends your run if you take it before seeing the dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you don't have any move speed, if you didn't get anything, and you have giant going into the dogfight, you're fucking done. you're
Yeah,
you're
it's
you're gonna be farmed.
Rip Bozo.
Exactly. Um, you did
Electromage
vitality.
is yours. Yep,
I'll
Electromage to you.
Electromage may be controversial. I'm only putting it in the sometimes strong because
Hmm.
obviously Spark, you need this. Uh, it's okay for some of the other builds. Like a lot of the Abby builds are okay with the energized bullets, so that way, combined with Ethereal, she can go infinite on her spin, which is always fun.
Yep.
Um, and Scarlet, it's okay with because you're taking fire perks anyway. So if you get Overload in there, it's like sure, whatever, right? It's
Yeah.
fine, but it's not essential. But like gun builds, a lot of gun builds don't give a shit about Electromage. This is worthless, like a decent number of times. Although
Yep.
with it's important to note that with the buff to Electromage of the lightning landing where your cursor is, or closest enemy to your cursor, it is pretty useful for killing the dog as well. It
Ah,
gets
that's
a lot
pretty
of
good.
it gets a lot of direct damage on the dog,
Hmm.
but not that good outside of that.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
put it in the usually good tier as well.
mhm.
My feeling is that this is either a perk that you're going to take because you're playing a build that uses it, or you're going to skip it. But I play builds where it's pretty good, almost more often than not.
Mhm.
Uh, the main reason I'm not gonna bump it into always good is because of Electro Bug. Fuck Electro
Yeah,
Bug.
Electro Bug is pretty trash. Electro Bug is better than the shield though that makes electricity.
Yeah, but like only by a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. But think about this though, Voyix. Sharpen Electro Bug.
Oh, wait a minute.
Get
Hang
that knife.
on.
Get that knife back into always strong tier.
Nobody's ever thinking about the summon element build. It's always about the summon gun build. Hang on a second.
Okay. Electro
Yeah.
Mastery also, it's like one of those things where it's hard to tell how impactful the AoE effect of the lightning is. Like
Yeah.
I don't know who's getting hit by lightning. I'm just shooting my gun, man.
I
So
can't
it's
see.
and also if you have overload, like there's explosions all over the place. So who can see what's happening, right? But
Yeah.
Electro Mastery is good for the overload perk, literally required for Spark. So
Hmm.
it's good,
Yeah.
but not
I agree.
always.
I think there's a lot more cases where it's good.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I get Ghost Friend. Any smilers?
I am a smiler.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in S tier. He's one of those units that I just look at him. He's smiling.
Okay, I will say that I was a hater of Ghost Friend at first, but that's because I never read any of Ghost Friend's other abilities and just
Yeah.
thought he was a little piece of shit that followed you around. I didn't
Yeah.
realize he's got like really important summoning effects.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to put the Ghost Friend in the rarely good tier, aka the Summoner and Vitality tier.
Oh my god, but he's
He
smiling.
is smiling. He's very energetic. He's in sync with me, and
Mm-hmm.
I love vengeance,
Yeah.
but it's just not that good. But
No,
it's probably good. It's debatably the best between it and the Dragon Egg.
yeah.
If you're playing like a bat gun build, you love Ghost Friend because
Mm-hmm.
all of those buffs are so good for you. It's crazy. Like just like being like, oh, by the way, double your 50% attack speed. Yeah, just fire rate, eat your heart out. Right? We just got double that in a single perk, and then also all of your summons are attacking at double speed. Same thing with Hina. If you're playing like a Shadow Clone build, this is pretty good. You know what? Actually, fuck this. I'm putting it in neutral. Ghost Friend is the king of the summons and goes one
Oh
tier
yeah.
above. Is what I've decided.
Yeah.
Mainly
I
because
I
it's
have
really good with Hina too.
I have decided that after much consideration, I'm moving light weapon down to neutral so that Ghost Friend can reign supreme.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, on average, I think he's one of the more important summons because he comes with all the cool summon buffs.
Hmm.
But realistically, he's going in S tier because he's a smiler. And look at him.
That's fair. That's very fair.
He's a morale boost to my run.
Hmm.
But I think that he's about as good as summons are on average.
Hmm.
And that's either really good or unpickable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Um,
All right.
I believe I'm up here.
I think so.
Frost Mage is the easiest S tier out of all these perks. I think.
Yeah, this perk's fucked up.
If you're playing, even like summon builds, kind of like this because like the dragon shots get the effects on them. If you're playing like Like I don't know. It's just messed up, man.
Yeah.
We should actually have this is like calls for like a frost mage tier above the other S tiers.
It's the little fade.
Yeah, it's this game's little fade for sure.
It's very good.
It's more like, I was talking before about how the glare builds are still pretty strong in endless mode. They're strong because of frostbite. That's the only reason why they're still even a thing. Basically, is because magic eye combined with frost procs combined with frostbite's percent health damage is too much.
Yeah.
So I am expecting a frostbite nerf soon, probably something to the effect of changing it from percent health base to a flat number on freeze. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, probably coming up soon.
Worth noting too that I don't know, Shatter is like, when I read Shatter and I think about it in context of a different game, I would be like, like having read the ability correctly this time, I should say, I'd be like, I don't think this is that great. But in this game, there's only like 4 enemies, so Shatter is just doing 10% of every enemy's max HP because the enemies spawn in waves, if that makes sense.
Well, it was 30% pre nerf too, right? Or am I crazy?
Like that, yeah.
It's
like
absurd.
25, 30-ish.
Yeah, it's absurd because if multiple enemies die, they chain react, and if they're all in a big cluster, they just keep killing each other.
Yeah.
It was good. It was too good. Honest,
Cool.
and what's funny about this perk tree too is that Frost Mage on its own is already at, like, just the freeze effect.
Yeah.
Is an S tier perk. You don't need any of the other parts of the tree. And then you have Frostbite, which breaks endless mode because it's percent health based damage. And then you have Shatter, which was broken and now is in a pretty good state balance wise, but still a pretty good perk. Unfortunately, the black sheep of the group, the ice shards.
Who's that?
Yeah, you know ice shards.
I don't know about that. Who? I haven't heard of them.
Listen, ice shard. People out there are loving miniclip. They ain't taking ice shard.
Sometimes I take Frost Mage and then one of my perks just disappears in my level ups. It's weird.
It is very strange.
Like a black hole there.
It is very weird, huh?
All right, Cranberry. It all worked out. I get to take Magic Lens.
Okay.
I've waited my whole life for this. I'm putting it in bottom tier. I hate Magic Lens so much.
You know, this is a controversial one, I think, Voyix, because there are people, and I don't want to say they're wrong, but I've seen people say Magic Lens was required to make gun builds work. You needed this for gun builds. And I was like, what the fuck am I reading? What are you people talking about?
I'm kind of surprised because I thought that Magic Lens would be something that you would say is like at least okay. I fucking hate this.
I hate it too. I hate it too.
We're in unity.
But I do acknowledge that I think it's pretty good for bat gun builds. Because bat gun builds already stack up summon damage, and this damage from Magic Lens is increased by summon damage. And with bat gun, you don't care where you're aiming; you can just constantly fire it through the lens, and the bats will go where they're supposed to go.
Yep.
So there is one build where I can't say it's never good. I will not put it in the glare tier. It has to go in the rarely good tier. But I hate this relic with a passion, and I don't understand why people like it so much.
I think that, well, first of all, let me address anything that anyone's ever gonna say to me about this. One, I don't want to aim through the Magic Lens. 2, if you're about to type, delete your comment right now if you're typing, excuse me, what about powering up the Ghost Friend bullet? That's boring and I don't like it. Because like the bullet goes away. I'll do all this work and then the bullet goes away. 3, the upgrade makes the size of the lens smaller. That sucks.
He's going off. He's going off right now. I can't believe it.
4, triple Magic Lens is stupid. Don't type to me about that again. Triple something else. I'm out of here.
Yeah. More. I more or less couldn't agree with more with you there. Just basically for all the reasons. Again, it's actually really good with bat gun builds, but outside of that, I don't like it. I don't respect it. Again, the way you should honestly think about this relic is that, you know, it's a 30% increase in damage plus, or, you know, maybe a little bit of summon damage in there, right? But it's an increase in your damage while you're shooting through the lens. And if you're not paying attention to where the lens is shooting, just think of it as like, you know, 1/3 of the time you have a 30% increase. So it's like a 10% increase to your damage, right?
Yeah.
More or less. That sucks. Yeah. That's not a good upgrade.
Yeah.
That's not, and then if you're intentionally shooting through it, you're gonna fucking die. If you're spending your whole run just trying to shoot shots through the magic lens, your bullets are not going to go in the right spot because you need to aim your gun and shoot things correctly. So it's just messed up.
This is a game about like directing, like killing enemies to create a path for yourself, and having an upgrade that says to you, you are meant to shoot in this direction isn't very good, I think.
I exactly agree. That's more or less the correct answer.
I think that for this to be good, the upgrades past the first tier would have to make me go, oh wow, that's so good.
And
I don't even know what they'd have to be.
You know what's funny? They are like that if you're playing Backgun too, because again, Backgun likes bullet bounce. So 2 free bullet bounce, that's great. Oh, Backgun usually plays a little bit of elemental splash in there just for fun. Oh, igniting lens, guaranteed burn procs on all my bats. That's great. Like these perks are really good for Backgun builds, and even with focal point, I find that it's not that hard to shoot most of your bats through the focal point lens. So it's pretty good even there. But like, so stop talking to me about magic lens.
What happens if you triple focal point? Does the magic lens disappear?
Oh, that's actually very interesting because I saw a picture of this. My understanding is that the way, again, I'm not a programmer. I don't know what C# is. You know me. Haven't figured it out yet. But my understanding is that the way it's coded is that it reduces size by like 50%, right? It's like minus 50%. So what happens is that when you take 3 copies of it, it goes from 100 to 50 to 0 to negative 50%.
Oh no, it's additive.
And yes, and it inverts backwards.
Oh,
and so it's still small, but it's just a backwards lens instead when you triple it up.
I was 100% sure that lead-in was you about to tell me. It goes, well, I thought of this, and it goes 150, 25, 12.5, and I was going to go, okay.
No, it's additive. It turns backwards. Well, technically, in a split second, it goes small, non-existent, and then backwards. So, which is...
And you get 6x effects of the lens?
Oh, you used to. Now I think you only get additive. Because that's a funny story too. Someone told me about this actually in one of my live streams. They were playing in endless mode, and I don't think they were stacking focal points. I think they were stacking just magic lenses in general, right? Because they were also, I think, multiplicative instead of additive before.
Okay.
So this person managed to exceed the number limit for damage in the game, which I think they said was 2 billion.
Okay.
So they integer overflow on the damage, and they ended up instead giving enemies HP by hitting them too hard.
Oh, this is like Gandhi.
Yeah, it's nuclear Gandhi, but it's nuclear reindeer.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's ridiculous.
That is pretty. It was cool to hear about, but that can't happen anymore because they reduced the number you can take now down to 3, and then also. Just as a kick in the nuts, they made it additive to the multiplicative as well.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fuck Magic Lens.
Yeah, I agree. Fuck Magic Lens.
Alright.
Hey, Voyix, thank you for doing this with me.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
I will... We should do this again for probably... Did I tell you about what my other plan for a tier list was for this game for the time being?
Please do.
Every permutation of weapons and characters together. So like for Shauna, it would be like Shauna revolver, Shauna shotgun, Shauna crossbow, whatever, and it would just be each permutation on a tier list.
Okay, sure.
It would take a little while because it's like I think it's total like 49 different things for the list, but like I think it would be fun. And we could like break it in half. We could do like, the first half of the roster in one video, the next half, the next video, whatever. We could, we'll figure it out.
Cut it down to 3 hours maybe instead of 6.
Oh, I doubt it. Maybe we can hit 8 this time.
Maybe. Oh, you send me that file. I'll tack it onto the end of the all cards video.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. That'd be pretty sick.
Or no. I put it on the front and you upload it and then go, why is this video 8 hours? And then they just watch the tier maker and then we just cut into Monster Train.
Oh, what if we just titled it the character tier list and then just put in just the Monster Train all cards list and then not even the 20 minutes of Dawn characters.
Yeah, but we re-record the Monster Train all tier list, so it's
Oh,
also 6 more hours of us.
oh, gotcha, and put
New
those, yeah,
content.
put those back to back.
Oh
That's
God,
a good plan. Okay,
sounds like a nightmare. All right,
Voyix, where can people find you?
I play video games on YouTube. YouTube.com/c/Voix is me. I
Right,
stream too,
stream too.
but go to YouTube. Don't come to Twitch.
What have you been actually playing though? So let's see, Monster Train and
Monster Train,
Gordian Quest right now,
Guardian Quest.
which I've
Yep,
been playing too. Great game.
game's very good.
Uh,
I've been playing, and I just finished Braid.
yep. I've been watching. I'm only 2 episodes in. I haven't caught up on that, but it's
That game
been
is very it
interesting.
is,
Interesting.
yeah,
Yep, is the word.
I for the year 2009, that game is mind-blowing, but it is a puzzle platformer, but they definitely focused on the puzzle part because platforming in that game feels fucking awful.
That's fair. Also, one thing I want to say: are you sure that game came out in 2009? Because you said that about 800 times, but whenever I look at the videos on the channel, it says the number, the category of game, whatever, right? It says Braid, and then it says the year it came out, and I think it says 2008.
Oh my God,
But maybe YouTube is lying.
I
So I
think
didn't want to call you
so.
out on it because I wasn't sure.
Steam is currently dead, and I can't find out, it appears. However, I was basing that on the Steam page, and on this, it released on Steam in 2009. I wouldn't be surprised actually if that game came out in like 2008
Oh,
elsewhere.
you're so fucked, Voyix. I'm sorry, you're so fucked. I googled it. August 6,
Mhm.
2008.
Oh my God, where did it release in 2008?
I don't
It was
know.
like released. Oh my God,
You're
it
fucked,
released
man.
on Steam in 2009.
You're so screwed.
It's over.
You went the entire series, every single episode, saying like 4 times. This is such a cool concept for 2009.
Oh my God,
You're so
how could I
screwed.
for how could I forget? It released on Xbox Arcade. I forgot to look at Xbox
You're
Arcade. All
done.
right,
You're
well.
so done.
Wait, there's a Braid Anniversary Edition and I'm not playing it?
You think they
Ah,
fixed the? You
fuck.
think they fixed the jump?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. Yeah, I gotta go delete my channel. Don't come to the YouTube. I'm taking down my channel.
Okay. I gotta go as well.
Yeah,
I
hey, where can people find you, Cranberry?
no. Goodbye.
Goodbye.